Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. Today we're going to be going over a new discovery of a species of Ichthyosaur, as well as what's going on with caracals over in some part of Asia. And we are streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. So let's dive back into the Mesozoic era or the time of the dinosaurs. So from Sci News, huge skeleton of Jurassic Ichthyosaur unearthed in UK. Paleontologists have unearthed the well preserved skeleton of the large bodied predatory ichthyosaur species Temnodontosaurus trigonodon at Rutland Water Nature Reserve in the UK. There is also the other species Temnodontosaurus platyodon, not to be confused with the larger relative of the later mastodons or distant relatives of mammoths, the Platybulodon, which existed about 3 to 5 million years ago over in Pliocene, Africa, adjacent to Megalodon. Okay, so here we have the Temnodontosaurus. Wow, that is a massive specimen of even this specific species. Temnodontosaurus, uh, I believe, can reach somewhere around 30 to 33 feet in length. They're pushing 9 to 10 meters. So, not including the um, different species of ichthyosaurs from earlier in the Triassic period, because this is a bit later into the Mesozoic, such as the Shastosaurs and um, relatives of another family of giant ichthyosaurs, such as Ichthyotitan, were, or technically the Temnodontosaurs were some of the largest of the Ichthyosauridae group of reptiles, especially during the Jurassic. These were essentially the largest ichthyosaurs after the like Shastosaurs at this point. So they were likely going after different species of ammonites, different species of smaller fish, maybe even squid. Likely not going after other ichthyosaurs, maybe youngsters, but that was probably pretty rare. And also likely not going after the other early species of pliosaurs or even long-necked plesiosaurs in the area, considering ichthyosaurs in most cases had quite delicate jaw structures, at least not meant for going after larger prey items. But ammonites and other squids, or cephalopods, I should say, were a much better treat. So Temnodontosaurus trigonodon belongs to an extinct genus of ichthyosaurs from the early Jurassic epoch. First described in 1843, this species lived in the deeper areas of the open ocean between 200 and 175 million years ago. Yeah, I think it pushes to like the 180 million to 185 million year realm for one of the species of Temnodontosaurus, possibly Trigonodon. Its fossilized remains are currently known from Western Europe and Chile. The newly discovered skeleton of Temnodontosaurus trigonodon is approximately 180 million years old. It was discovered by Rutland Water Conservation Team leader Joe Davis during the routine draining of a lagoon island for re-landscaping in February 2021. Okay, that is kind of amusing. Uh, I mean, this does occur with a wide variety of different construction
Did
sites.
it say re-landscaping?
Yep, around the world. I mean, we even have it where recently over, I think, like amongst some highway construction over in the state of Utah, but this would be slightly later into the Jurassic. They came across certain long necked sauropod dinosaur bones, possibly belonging to a species of diplodocid or perhaps a chimerasauromorph. I don't recall if any allosaurs were discovered in the area, considering I believe it was part of the Morrison Formation. Um, you many times allosaurs tend to be discovered along with different species of sauropods or stegosaurs, even the occasional ornithopod in the region. So this isn't necessarily too surprising, but it's, I guess, just a bit amusing. Still good to hear. So at over 10 meters or 33 feet long, this is the biggest and most complete skeleton of its kind found to date in the UK. I will say that England is very renowned, as well as certain parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland to an extent, but not as many marine reptiles are found in the region. They have been discovered. But when it comes to like especially Scotland and England, there are a wide variety of different species of ichthyosaurs, as well as pliosaurs, plesiosaurs, and ammonites that have been discovered in this area. Even different species of marine crocodiles, such as the metrorhynchids, have been discovered here. So, okay, let's bring up a species of pliosaur, the Rhynchosaurus. So, Rhancausaurus. Oh, wait a second, I spelled that wrong. Romaliosaurus. Confusing with an actual, I think, dinosaur. I mean, Rhomalleos. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is yeah, probably him. He did have a bit more of an elongated neck structure. However, I also think his tail fluke might be a bit off, though certain species of ichthyosaurs would have had a tail similar to this, almost like a symbol of spondylus from the Triassic. But it might be a bit more forward towns
Found a good one on Reddit.
down the tail. That is more of like a Romaliosaurus. So
Oh, it's huge.
yeah, this is where the plesiosaurs somewhat not I'm not going to say break the rules, but they decided to have their own um formidable sort of branch when it came to this immense family of marine reptiles. These plesiosaurs simply just had enough. They simply disagreed earlier in their evolution. We don't want to be seen as these delicate, just ammonite and fish eating creatures that you can come over and pet occasionally. We're going to take on the ichthyosaurs at this point. They had some of the largest skulls compared to their body size of any lineage of plesiosaurs in general.
Is that real?
Um,
I'm not sure I see a shadow behind that guy.
Oh, right.
There is a slight color differential right here, but
Yeah, I have no idea. But when it comes to the Romaliosaurus, so this animal could reach somewhere around 30 feet in length and or pushing 9 meters. Probably also weighs somewhere around 4 to 5 tons. Or also, when you're looking at the species of Temnodontosaurus, which at least when it came to adults, this animal was likely not going after. That animal was probably pushing somewhere around 5 to 8 tons, at least. It's a bit challenging to find any estimates on the weight of Temnodontosaurus, the ichthyosaur, but judging by at least the um, different paleo artist depictions, I'm guessing it could be around that weight. But when it comes to Romaliosaurus, this is also a member of the Romaliosauridae lineage of plesiosaurs. So this was somewhere around also maybe 180 million years ago during the Jurassic. And these animals also likely gave live birth in the water. They did not come to the beach in order to lay eggs. That is quite an old disputed theory. I wouldn't say too much. I mean, even back in the late 1900s, it was still somewhat agreed upon and heavily debated.
I forgot what was the reason that they don't.
Simply when it comes to their overall morphology, locomotion, they are not meant to simply move around on land. In many cases, they would just simply suffocate under their own weight. So it'd be much like different species of dolphins, even smaller sharks, or larger species of whale getting beached today. So yeah, Romaliosaurus was quite a strange but very fascinating clade of plesiosaurs, so likely going after smaller species of ichthyosaurs. I'm trying to think of what species it could be going after in this instance. I think it mentioned Stereptigius, ichthyosaur from the early Jurassic. So these were essentially like the pliosaurs of their time. So one of the top predators of the early Jurassic oceans. Yeah, I think these are all Pretty good reconstructions. It is interesting when it comes to the tail fluke of Romaleosaurus in many instances. For some reason, I don't know why, the tail fluke is really only shown on the bottom part of the end of the tail and not the top, which is what you would see in different species of later pliosaurs, plesiosaurs. Not in this case for certain Romaleosaurs, which is odd. They didn't have a very long reign during the Jurassic, however. In later species, a much more gracile species or even in some cases somewhat skinny or plesiosaurs would take over, as well as the shorter skulled or shorter necked, longer skulled pliosaurs would take over the food chain. Okay, so let's go back to the article. So let's see, where were we? So it is also thought to be the first Temnodontosaurus trigonodon found in the country. Wow. Okay, that is actually a bit surprising. I thought maybe we had already found Temnodontosaurus found in. I thought we already discovered them over in the UK. So maybe I'm confusing it for different parts of Europe. So maybe we found it over in Switzerland, Germany. I'll have to double check that. The find has been absolutely fascinating and a real career highlight. It's great to learn so much from the discovery and to think that this amazing creature was once swimming in seas above us. And now, once again, Rutland Water is a haven for wetland wildlife, a bite on a smaller scale. Um, wait, is it talking about like ducks in the region? Or I don't know. That was confusing. Okay, so it was an honor to lead the excavations, said Dr. Dean Lomax, paleontologist and a visiting scientist affiliated with the University of Manchester. Britain is the birthplace of ichthyosaurs. Their fossils have been unearthed here for over 200 years, with the first scientific dating to with the first scientific dating, I think scientific discovery dating back to Mary Anning and her discoveries along the Jurassic coast. There was also Joseph Anning as well, who was a part of who collaborated with her on several expeditions. So, despite the many ichthyosaur fossils found in Britain, it is remarkable to think that the Rutland ichthyosaur is the largest skeleton ever found in the UK. I think it would be of maybe this lineage of ichthyosaurs because, unless I'm mistaking it for another part of the world, there's also the ichthyotitan, and I swear certain shastosaurs. I'll double check, but that seems like a very odd statement. It is a truly unprecedented discovery and one of the greatest finds in British paleontological history. I bet you have megalosaurs and baryonyx in the sediment. Like, hey, are we a joke to you? As well as like maybe even, or maybe not Predator X. He would be over in Germany. But I'm trying to think of who possibly else. Oh yeah, Guanodon. Like, whoa, I can take down that ichthyosaur just by stepping on it. So I've been studying the Jurassic fossils of Rutland and Leicestershire for over 20 years, added Dr. Mark Evans, a researcher with the British Antarctic Survey and a visiting fellow at the University of Leicester. Okay, let's see. So I guess bringing up another species of I don't know, marine reptile or dinosaur. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's go with Glacialosaurus. So GLACIA um Lisaurus.
I'm not sure this is good.
I wonder if it's confusing it with another animal in the region because I swear Glacialosaurus is a species of prosauropod and not something like a there we go, species of Neotheropod in the region. It possibly did come into contact with Cryolophosaurus, a more renowned species of neotheropod from early Jurassic Antarctica. But Ichthyosaurus was a species of prosauropod closely related to different African, um, South American, and North American species like Massospondylus, Ankylosaurus. But this animal was still a medium-sized species of prosauropod. Massospondylus and certain other species, like even the Muskosaurus, um, who else? Ankylosaurus are much smaller. They're maybe pushing somewhere around 10 to 11 feet in length. They're pushing 3 to 3.2 meters. Whereas,
Mystic
um,
Mountain Morphs is on. He says, "Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe."
yeah, thanks and welcome, fellow sauropod. I just figured you would like a much larger group of animals to be referred to as. Let's see. So this animal could reach somewhere around 20 feet in length or pushing 6 meters and probably weighed somewhere around 1 to 2 tons or somewhere between like 1,000 or 1,800 kilograms. So this animal was also an herbivore. So it's feeding on different species of ferns, certain species of shrubs, and smaller conifers at the time over in Antarctica. So this was also back when it wasn't really cold like this time period, or at this point in Antarctica. It's possible now and then there might have been certain cool fronts and the animals could survive. Um,
That one's very strange looking.
yeah, it just seems to be a bit of an older depiction. I can't tell, maybe from like the 1980s. There's something about it. Like there's a lot of definition. However, I mean, I've seen pictures from the 1940s, 1950s that also have a lot of characteristics. Like especially certain Charles R. Knight pictures, and then there was that other one, Hydric somebody. There's different older paleo artists that definitely added a lot of texture, much like even modern paleo artists
Well, I
to
like the overall
pictures.
painting.
Um, yeah, I think it looks really good. It seems to be some species of like rhynchosaur. No, that can't be a rhynchosaur. Maybe some later relative of the Dicynodonts on the bottom. But if this is supposed to be Glaciolosaurus, especially at this point, this is somewhere around 180 to 190 million years ago over in Antarctica. So I don't know what type of proto-mammal, if there were any at that point, that could be. And the pterosaurs are also a bit of a mystery. But this animal is likely not feeding really on any species of like animal protein, so it's not going after other prosauropods or even smaller theropods in the region. This is also around the time when in other parts of the world, early ornithischians are just evolving.
Mystic Mountain Morph said, "You're the prehistoric professor."
Okay, well, thanks, Sora Poseidon. Don't stomp on any Deinonychus unless they're trying to eat your young. Oh, yeah, this is also a really good reconstruction. Who would that theropod be on the right? That's a bit of a mystery to me. But yeah, definitely when it comes to the Glaciolosaurus, this is definitely a good reconstruction. Also, when it comes to Glaciolosaurus, it's one of those species of prosauropods that did not necessarily have a very long neck compared to their body size, but it wasn't necessarily also one of the shortest. There were certain species of prosauropod that are a bit challenging to even recognize as a prosauropod because of how short their necks are compared to their overall length. Yet, when you look at the rest of their morphology, you look at the skull structure, they have a very prosauropod look or just overall stature. When it comes to the forelimbs of the Glaciolosaurus, it might be possible they could have walked on all fours, but they seem fairly small compared to its body size, also quite short. But they were definitely very able to walk on simply two legs or walking, maybe even somewhat running bipedally. They would have to be concerned about animals like the Cryolophosaurus. I think this is a really good reconstruction. I mean, they are showing the ribs, so technically that would mean that this animal is starving. You wouldn't see the ribs on really any dinosaurs.
Clint Gage says, "What up, man? Talking about paleontology, nice sore. Whoa, wait a minute, nice Sauropodomorphs can get crazy.
Yeah, they are rather strange. And thank you too. Also, welcome, fellow Stegosaur. So when it comes to like the hand structure of this specific species, like as you can tell, the upper thumb, the index, and the middle finger are very much containing elongated claws. But looking at the two extra fingers, or being the ring finger and the pinky, they're quite blunt. It's almost like somebody took the hand of a ceratopsian, or especially like one of the earlier species. But that might not even be a good representation. Maybe some of the earliest species of the Saurischian lineage of dinosaurs back in the Middle Triassic, somewhere between 230 to 239 million years ago, and just massively elongated its foreclaws.
Adrian Rojo said, "Why does it look like a short?" You're on the short version. If you go to the main channel, the full size screen one is on there.
Also, even when it comes to the toe claws on the prosauropods, or in this case, the Glaciolosaurus's hind limbs, they are quite elongated. It also somewhat shows how closely related these animals are to the theropods, which they both of them did belong to the Saurischian lineage of dinosaurs. And at this point, the Saurischians do contain most of the dinosaur lineage. So you do have it where about 10 to 20 million years beforehand. Well, I might be overestimating that. Maybe like 10 to 14 million years beforehand. Some of the first ornithischians or the eutherians are just evolving. So, what would lead on to the stegosaurs and chylosauromorphs, the ornithopods, are very rare at this point. And in Antarctica, I believe, we don't have any evidence for those animals occurring, at least for the moment. Over in the early Jurassic, you do start to see their presence, especially once the early Cretaceous hits, and later into the early Cretaceous. So, between like 105 and 145 million years ago.
Identify as Carnotaurus said, basically, "What's up?"
Hello, fellow Ceratosaurian. We're going over prosauropods at the moment.
And okay, Clint Gage says, like a crocodile or alligator had the first three fingers have claws, and the last two have stubby fingers.
Um, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that is very much like a crocodile or an alligator. Um,
What are they related?
they're very far off in the family tree, but when it comes to crocodilomorphs, they belong to their own lineage of archosauromorphs, specifically the pseudosuchians.
Oh, we have visitors.
So here we have a descendant of Gallus, and I am serious. This animal evolved about
Can't see him.
4 to 6 million years ago during the Pliocene epoch. Hold on here.
Oh, he's having trouble with him or her. Somebody brought visitors.
Oh no!
Oh, I'll fix it.
You sure? I am serious. They did evolve from the red jungle fowl over in southeastern Asia. So that was over in different parts of Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and for the most part, they were like a larger part of their diet did consist of different species of seeds and fruits, but there's also evidence found in the throat
Adrian
pouches
Rojo says,
of
"Why do you have chickens?"
yeah, and the throat pouches of jungle fowl that they also fed on a wide variety of termites, especially like 1,000 termites at once.
Did
So yes, these are some of the
you hear?
Yeah, I mean, they're very intelligent theropod avian dinosaurs, but yes, they also supply with very rich egg sustenance too. So this is
Right, so
possibly how
well,
certain.
looks like that one was the what? It moved. Like, "Oh, cluck. I'm on camera. I'm outta here." Wait, maybe he's got a second one coming. Little dinosaurs. I Carnotaurus just said, um, eh, okay. Okay. They're leaving. Clint Gage said, "Yeah, it's interesting how they discovered the voice box of the I think it says Ankylosaur, but it says Nkylo."
Um, Ankylosaurus. Wait, voice box. Yeah, I've got to go back over that when it comes to the ankylosaurs. Oh, I mean, also a wide variety of different species. It's something that I definitely have not put a lot of focus on outside maybe certain species of hadrosaurs, like especially Parasaurolophus or Lambeosaurus, Corythosaurus. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, when also something that I am surprised by, but also to an extent not very much, is that they didn't feather this animal. It's just simply having a wide variety of different types of scales. So something that you would also see on different species of later prosauropods, but even or some of the earliest species of true sauropods, like the macronenians, such as Volcanodon, and then what will lead on to like Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus.
Misty Mountain Morph said, "Chickens are doofy and goofy sometimes. When we hatch them in chickens, we would have to dip their beaks into water so that they knew what my eyes are blurry, were to drink from to teach them how to drink." Oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
You've you ever
Um,
had that problem?
no, we didn't need to do that. Though I think I have heard of that. Maybe it was just with the chicken that was a bit lower in the instinctive responses.
Identifies Carnotaurus said, "Remember who you are, chicken."
Yeah.
What is that from? I don't remember that.
Remember who you are?
Yeah.
Like Lion King or something?
Oh, okay.
Um, so let's see. When it comes to
Adrian Rowe said, "A chicken born from both Oni and dragon heritage sought to the end of war but failed."
wait a second. Is this like what I heard what was going on yesterday? That's okay. Yeah, that sounds like a very, unique chicken, never mind. Let's see. Where were we? So we're over in England. We were going over Proceratosaurs in Antarctica. Okay, Ichthyosaurs, UK. So when I first saw the initial exposure of the specimen with Joe Davis, I could tell that it was the largest ichthyosaur known from either county. However, it was only after our exploratory dig that we realized that it was practically complete to the tip of the tail.
Hamida Bungum says, "Hi, hello, love me, love."
Yeah, hey, Dicynodont, how's it going? So, if you want a dinosaur, what, just stick to the proto mammal for the moment. Rutland's motto, multum in parvo, translates as much and little. So it what? So it is fitting that we found Britain's largest ichthyosaur skeleton in England's smallest county. Oh, okay. Maybe those are distinct little sayings in the specific areas. So it's a highly significant discovery both nationally and internationally, but also of huge importance to the people of Rutland and the surrounding area. The block containing the massive 2-meter or 6.6-foot long skull weighs just under a ton, comprising the fossil, the Jurassic clay in which it lies, and the encasing plaster of Paris and wooden splints, said Dr. Nigel Larkin, a paleontological conservator and a visiting research fellow at Reading University. I was thinking Nigel Marvin for a second, but he's not a doctor. So, let's see, I guess we can bring up another species of early Jurassic dinosaur, like the maybe Gasosaurus. So Gasosaurus.
Does it eat a lot of beans?
Yeah, I don't think legumes have evolved yet, but I might have to double check on that. But it definitely wouldn't eat them.
Okay, this thing looks weird.
This is one of those earlier reconstructions from the early 2000s or the 1990s when it came to a wide variety of like different types of paleo books. And this individual would evolve, but he would pop up with certain other similar models, I think coming from the same animator. Um, Yeah, it's an even older reconstruction, but I honestly thinks it looks somewhat better, at least when it comes to the overall morphology of the theropod. So this is one of the earlier neotheropods from the early Jurassic. Actually, you could probably say mid Jurassic. This might be somewhere around 170 million years ago.
Clint Gage says, I have a piece of fossilized seabed with small lily impressions found in a creek bed.
Huh. Um,
That dino pic looks like my cousin, said Adrian Roja.
that's concerning, but definitely when it comes to the coral, is that what he said?
Uh, hold on. It just says lily. It says a sea lily. I have a
Okay,
fossilized seabed.
oh, I think you're talking about maybe something related to the no, crinoids are a and technically like an aquatic plant-like animal. So, that's still really good to hear. I mean, sea lilies, like, depending on what part of the Mesozoic or the Cenozoic you found them from, they even extend back into earlier in the Proterozoic era, so before the Triassic period. Yeah, I mean, that's still pretty, fascinating. Now, when it comes to Gasosaurus, this is a smaller species of neotheropod. Is a bit distantly related to the megalosaurs over in different parts of North America, Europe, and even certain areas of Asia. But this animal was somewhere between 15 to, yeah, probably 12 to 15 feet in length, or pushing somewhere between 3.5 meters, or maybe pushing around 4 to like maybe 4.6 meters.
How big's the dog?
Looks like some sort of a Labrador by the shape of it.
I know, but it's trying to show a comparison, but how big is it?
Well, definitely when it comes to the weight of this animal, it's not very much. I'd say it's probably pushing somewhere around 3 to 400 pounds, or maybe somewhere around like 150 kilograms.
Clint Gage says, theropods are probably my favorite class of dinosaur. I found it while I was looking for shark teeth here in Texas, and yes, from early Cambrian.
Whoa! Well, you dive down in Proterozoic layers pretty quickly because obviously we don't have sharks showing up at the early Cambrian period, or
Where was
uh,
he at, do you think?
honestly, it's not hitting me at the moment. I've heard of like certain earlier Cenozoic deposits, are usually where I hear people actively looking for prehistoric shark teeth that don't weren't around during the time of the dinosaurs or the Mesozoic, as well as the Proterozoic era. So I was just thinking that you were probably originally looking for shark teeth in like the Paleocene or Eocene sediments, so pushing somewhere between 34 to 66 million years ago. You're all the way back in the earlier, Proterozoic era, so towards, like, the beginning of the Phanerozoic, but you said early Cambrian, which yeah, there were still, sea lilies back then.
But I meant
So what,
what part of the state?
yeah, when it comes to Cambrian sediments, even in Texas, that's not hitting me at the moment. I don't know. I was also assuming maybe like certain parts of the larger Brazos River, Colorado River, I think in certain instances, like the Colorado River of Texas. There's a Colorado River that flows through Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and then there's just the little Colorado in Texas, which flows through, I think, past San Antonio and the Austin area. And in case people are wondering, the I don't believe the Riverwalk is an actual water source. But anyway, that's off topic. Like it's just a simply man-made area. Still impressive, but I don't think it's connected to anything. Let's see. So where were we? Oh, okay. So yeah, essentially,
Said near the coast, near the coast, close to Louisiana at Natchez River Delta.
oh, the Neches River. Okay. So, yeah, that's definitely like along the Louisiana border, like adjacent to the Sabine River. That's yeah, pretty fascinating. I That's actually was a bit unexpected. I was thinking somewhere much further inland and not the coast. I think because in many instances, when it comes to the coast, especially of Texas, a lot of the time it's certain Pleistocene sediments that people tend to, or especially even myself, tend to think of. So, really, Ice Age or about like 12,000 to maybe 2.4 million years ago. So, yeah, that was quite surprising. So this animal was likely feeding on different species of smaller sauropods at the time, maybe going after youngsters. Oh, right. So it might be coming into contact with relatives of the Shunosaurus. So, this might be Shunosaurus, or oh no, Shunosaurus would have existed much further back and possibly in different part of the world. Who could this be? Um, it's not hitting me at the moment, but I'm guessing it's somewhere around a 30 to 35-foot long sauropod or pushing 9 to 11 meters.
Identify as Carnotaur said, I put the Tylosaur tooth on a necklace. You drilled a hole in it?
Um, with the Tylosaur tooth. Oh,
Or the
well, I mean, I guess if it's the root part, that's fine. But yeah, I guess that's what a lot of shark people will do, or shark fans, and they'll also stick it on a necklace. So yeah, I bet that might be a bit heavy, but probably looks good, and also a bit rough. But maybe that's just me.
and Clink Age said, I'm assuming it was washed down through the deposits, maybe during one of the many floods we
Well, I mean, it could have. That's definitely a um pretty logical theory.
have. And he says that one would hurt in that pick.
Oh yeah, definitely. You could have had it with these specific species of earlier sauropods that these were essentially like the ankylosaurs or nodosaurs. You could even say stegosaurs of their time as well. Even though technically stegosaurs were already evolving at this point, they just hadn't, for the most part, really evolved the massive thagomizers of later on. But they still technically had their own proto osteoderms that would have helped ward off at least smaller predators at this point or earlier in their evolution during the Jurassic.
Identify as Carnotaur said, I super glued it onto a piece of wood.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty creative. I thought maybe you're just going to put it on like a stand or something like that. Okay. Let's head back to see if there's anything on the article. So, whoa, the block containing the body section weighs about 1.5 tons. I mean, that's not surprising considering. Actually, I'm surprised that that's it, considering the sediment that it is locked inside of. It's not often you're responsible for safely lifting very important but very fragile fossil weighing that much. It is a responsibility, but I love a challenge. It was a very complex operation to uncover, record, and collect this important specimen safely. Um, okay. I thought there would be more to the Temnodontosaurus, or I think there were other
Was that the
species.
end?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Well, let's head forward in time to the Cenozoic era. So, from india.mongabay.com, new camera trap record confirms caracal presence in Kuno. Well, he seems to be a healthy individual, though I think even for a caracal, he seems a bit thin, but besides that, he seems okay. Kuno, I don't know where this is. Got a feeling I do now. Deep inside Madhya Pradesh, or over in India, Kuno National Park, two camera traps captured a lean wildcat at night. Had long legs, a tawny coat, and black ear tufts. This wildcat was a caracal.
Clint Gage said, "When the teeth they come, along with you must whip it." I think it's from a song.
Are we talking about some like bucktooth sauropod or something?
No, he was talking about that.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that would make very much sense. Yeah, there's even a bit of blood. It's from one of those like 1980s or 1990s books. Let's see. So notably, this caracal was recorded from the same forest landscape where India's cheetah reintroduction project is underway. Yeah, the cheetah reintroduction. So from cheetahs coming in from South Africa, possibly Namibia, over to India, because much of Central Asia used to be like not too long ago into the 1930s was prime cheetah habitat. So, Kuno National Park's field director Uttam Kumar Sharma noted that in the 4 years that he has been in the park, this was the first record of the cat. Forest Department is now going through older records to check if caracals had been recorded earlier in Kuno or adjoining areas. So, Sharma noted that this record may indicate the possibility of local presence. However, more monitoring is needed before drawing a conclusion, he added. Yeah, caracals, they're not very large cats. They're maybe weighing somewhere between 20 to 30 pounds or 8 to 12 kilograms. So, Shekhar Kolipaka, who has studied caracal distribution and suitable habitats in India and is senior landscape developer at Common Land Foundation, said the Kuno record should be interpreted carefully. A single camera trap photograph confirms the presence of a caracal, but does not indicate the existence of a resident population. So, yeah, I mean, I guess also the caracal. I'm not sure about the serval. It could be possible. Um, as well as, the cheetah, and then formerly even the tigers, the lions. Most of India, as well as Central Asia, used to be their former home range, as well as practically most of Africa.
Wait, what is this?
It's a caracal.
Okay.
So it's more closely related to servals, Eurasian lynx, house cats, than it is to lions or tigers. But it is a distant relative of like the saber-toothed cats of the Pleistocene or the Ice Age, as well as the Pliocene, Miocene epochs. And even animals like the different members of the macrodontid lineage of cats, which would consist of the saber-tooths like Smilodon, as well as the Nimravids like Barbarophilus. It is not, however, a close relative of the marsupial saber-toothed cats, like marsupial saber-tooth. They're not cats. Cats are placentals, um, like polar bears, woolly mammoths. But this animal is more closely related to the macrodontid saber-tooths than is the marsupial saber-tooths like Thylacolsmilus. Yes, I mean, he seems
He
okay.
looks way too happy to be in a cage.
Yeah, something's off. Or he was just rescued, maybe, from another situation. But yeah, he looks pretty healthy. There are, I believe, different subspecies of caracal that have their own distinct type of fur or pigmentation look. This is probably one that was taken, or the picture was taken in some part of Botswana or maybe Mozambique,
This one
so
looks like it's
southern
saying, "Get the
Africa.
camera out of my face."
Yeah, he might be in some enclosure. He seems pretty agitated. It also does seem to have some of the longer canines compared to its skull structure, like with what you would see in other species of wild cats, such as the clouded leopard, which is not closely related to other leopards in general. In fact, I believe it's also a bit more closely related to the tiger than it is the other species of clouded leopard, but I forget which one is.
Clint Gage said, "Nice conversation, guys, but I gotta head out. Love you, love you, Mama Love. You, Papa Love. Yourself and kind, and always find way to help later."
All right, see you later, Ceratosaur or Neotheropod. Okay, let's keep going with the cats over in India.
That was a happy exit.
Yeah, that was um funny. So let's see. Shekhar Kalipaka, who has studied caracal distribution and suitable habitats in India and is senior landscape developer at Common Land Foundation, said the did I already say that? Yeah. However, he added that the record, most likely a dispersing male, is still significant. Continued monitoring, he said, will help determine whether more individuals occur in the landscape and whether the photographed animal establishes residency or continues dispersing. Like most wild cats, young adults naturally disperse sorry, from their birth areas to establish their own territories. Males, in particular, often travel long distances, crossing rivers and agricultural fields, villages, roads, and railway lines in search of suitable habitat. He said caracals have historically been rare in central India, even though they had a relatively wide distribution across the region. I think what it might say or might mean by historically in this instance is maybe like in the past 100 years or so, but I would assume beforehand they were somewhat common. They remain comparatively more abundant in Rajasthan and Gujarat, where suitable scrub, dry, deciduous, and semi arid habitats are still available. Oh, I guess that's the same individual. He looks quite thin. Now, this isn't necessarily too surprising for certain species of animals native to India, and it's not necessarily like a starvation joke. When it comes to the dry season, many instances, even when you're looking at elephants, the Asian elephants in the area, they tend to have a rather thin sort of an accumulation to them. Almost like with what you'll see in certain bush elephant populations over in Africa, also during the dry season. It's also very peculiar in females, not so much the males. At least with the cats, that could be a bit of a thin male. I think that's a real picture. I don't. That's not a real picture because caracals do not have that long of a tail.
I was looking at the paws thinking, why
That
does that look
too.
like a lynx?
It almost like yeah, either a lynx or a cougar, sort of an accumulation, but also the toes are just odd in general. But yeah, he doesn't exist, or somebody just messed with, especially the tail region. It's very small. It would be like a Smilodon or a Barbarophilus and Macaritus from the Pliocene. Um, and having just a small Eurasian lynx or bobcat-like tail.
Okay, Adrian Rojo says, here's a fact. Did you know while some long necked sauropods could grow to over 40 meters in length, smaller species like Lesiosaurus were only about the size of a chicken?
Um, what was the animal?
Les- Lesosaurus? Lesoth.
Oh, the African species. So, um, Lesothosaurus though is actually I'm not sure if it's a member of the sauropod lineage in general. I mean, I think it could be, in fact, not even a Saurischian at all. It actually might be a member of the Ornithischians. So I'm going to have to double check on that. But there were very small species of sauropods that reached maybe,
That's not a sauropod.
yeah, even when it comes to the ancestors of prosauropods, they would have had a very, like, it still looks like a prosauropod to an extent. Even proto-dinosaurs, I also think this might be an early Jurassic species, um, from Lesotho, which is a I believe it's a country situated within, the eastern or the western no, the eastern part of South Africa, also known as Swaziland. Um, yeah, this is possibly an Ornithischian. So, yeah, there were sauropods like Supersaurus, which is possibly the longest species of sauropod that we know of, pushing around 130 to 140 feet in length. Where the smallest sauropods that I know of were probably somewhere around 8 to 12 feet in length. Um, and that still might be a juvenile. Definitely for sure, like somewhere around 20 feet with the smaller species of sauropod, like the different species of island sauropods, like the Magurosaurus from the Hatsek Basin of the Lake Cretaceous period. But also, when it came to the early Jurassic around 180 million years ago is also when you have some of the earliest species of sauropods occurring. But they had actually already massively increased at that size from their prosauropod ancestors. So, yeah, this animal is likely a ornithischian. Also, when you're just looking at the arm structure, the head structure, you could say it almost has like a theropod look to it, but
Were there sauropods that were small as a chicken?
not that I know of. We have found certain larger hatchlings that are probably around the size of a chicken, but also depends on the breed of chicken. Uh, but no, not entire species. Or you could say the five different species of jungle fowl in which many breeds of chicken today derived from. And they've been around for a few million years.
Agent Rose says, "Bruh, Google lied to me."
Yeah, there are many instances where it's like simple paleo questions and it will bring up completely off the wall answers. So, yeah, this is an ornithischian. Where were we? Oh, we were talking about a cat. And okay. So, yeah, it just seems to be a thin, dry season individual. Probably not too uncommon. His fur seems pretty much intact. Oh, wait a second. Well, okay, I guess I was a bit off on the tail length. Must have maybe mixed him with a serval, and caracals just have longer tail structures. Um, okay, my mistake. That is not something that you see on the different species of saber-toothed cats or the microdontids like Macaridus, Smilodon, Barbophilis. Their tails are much shorter, like bobcats. Why the caracal decided to have like a medium length tail is a big question.
Maybe it was trying to act like a possum and hang from trees. It just
Well,
never got long enough.
the problem is that there really isn't a species of possum that does hang from trees.
Oh,
Their tails are not really designed for that.
so
I
that's
don't.
just cartoons that made that up?
Yeah, I don't know where it derived from. Unless there's maybe a certain species of mammal that I'm not familiar with that does have that ability, or maybe like a certain pygmy possum. But even then, I don't believe they hang from their tails. It's just simply way too much pressure on the animal's exterior part. Um, but maybe it has something to do with maneuverability when chasing after smaller gazelles, rodents, or lagomorphs, like especially rabbits in the region. That's possible. But even cheetahs can occasionally have trouble with rabbits. There are rabbits in Africa. Let's see. So, Chief Minister Mohan Yadav, in a social media post, said the Cheetah Project is not limited to the reintroduction of cheetahs, but also aims to protect other wildlife and their natural habitats. He said Kuno is developing a safe and rich habitat for several rare wildlife species. Sharma also placed the caracal record in the context of changes after the Cheetah Project. He said water availability has increased in Kuno and grasslands have improved after the project. There may be a simple correlation between these changes in the caracal record, but more study is needed to understand it. The caracal has a broad global distribution extending from Africa through West Asia to central India. Central India represents the easternmost edge of its global range. Beyond this point, suitable habitats decline and the species no longer occurs naturally. Yeah, I mean, once you start getting into like especially eastern India and then well also you have like Bangladesh, Myanmar, it's pretty much non-existent. Ah, they could be real, but I think it's a big question.
Yeah, that's what I was
Um,
wondering. There's
hmm.
shadows on them.
Yeah, I don't know. His ears are off, especially on the far right. Almost like a bat to an extent. Like the certain fruit eating bats. Okay, this is one of those fat caracals. And I think this is even at a park over in Africa. And they happen to have a fat caracal. It's a bit unfortunate.
It
And
looks like, "Why are you putting me in the camera?"
yeah, it's okay. Well, we'll let Bob be. Okay, so the cat is comparatively more abundant in Rajasthan and Gujarat, where suitable scrub, dry, deciduous, and semi-arid habitats are still available. But the Kuno record has raised questions whether Kuno, Grandi Sagar, Campbell, and parts of Rajasthan may be part of a wider dryland landscape used by caracals. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else going on? Okay, so caracals are primarily associated with semi-arid ecosystems, including grasslands, scrublands, ravines, and open dry forests. In reality, they use a mosaic of these habitats rather than a single habitat type. This is relevant for Kuno, where the official description mentions forests of cardai or doke trees, car or black kutch trees, salai or Indian frankincense trees, along with large meadows. The park's website says some grasslands in Kuno are bigger than many at Kenna or Bandavar tiger reserves. Because the reason why is you have many types of ecosystems, especially over in central India, also consisting of these different tiger reserves, where it's more of like a deciduous forest range, and there's not really a lot of grassland. You can find like different smaller um, I guess, patches of grass within these woodlands, but it's not to the same extent as like the open grassland, especially what you see in certain areas of northern India. But those are more of like seasonal floodlands,
I think I found one
flood
that can't
grass.
stop eating.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
I don't think that's AI.
Yeah, it's probably one of those fat rescued caracals at a certain animal sanctuary. In fact, it might be the one over in Colorado.
But why does it look like he's staring at his nose?
Yeah. No, I think his like iris or pupil is right there. He's still huge.
Thought he was funny. Wait,
Yeah, caracals can put on a lot of weight if they're not able to, um, like, go after different species of rodents in many cases or lagomorphs. Same thing for the servals too that, are kept by some people. They're pretty fat. I think cats in general can just gain a lot of weight, but can canids.
nothing
Um,
quite like a fishing cat, though.
oh yeah, those guys over in Asia, especially Thailand. Kolipaka said earlier research on caracal habitat in Rajasthan, Gujarat, using remote sensing and habitat suitability modeling has helped identify environmental characteristics associated with suitable caracal habitats in India. Such findings, he said, can help identify priority landscapes for future surveys. Is that the same one? No, it's got to be something else. I wonder if we saw this picture in another one. But it says June 30th, 2025. Okay. Then 10:42 PM. Yeah, they can be, nocturnal as well as diurnal. Diurnal meaning active during the day, nocturnal active at night. There's another word, is it, uh, precup crepuscular, where it's somewhat a mix. I forgot what, like, the dawn and, um, dusk animals are referred to as. Okay, so, let's see. So historically, caracals occurred across much of the Deccan Plateau, the Vindhyas, the Arvalis, the Kutch and Gujarat, and parts of central India. Today, much of this habitat has been converted for agriculture, infrastructure, and other human uses. Is there anything else? Oh, so he also added that caracal habitat in Madhya Pradesh was historically more extensive, but is now highly fragmented. This fragmentation is a concern not only for caracals, but also for cheetahs, leopards, and tigers. He said, seems to be just a bit repetitive. Yeah, I think that's it. I have to check, like, specifically where this, caracal is over in, I guess, Madhya Pradesh or Kuno to see if, like, cheetahs might be present nearby. I don't believe they release the cheetahs anywhere near, like, certain tiger populations because the tigers would easily take them out. Okay, so, We'll give everyone a minute if they have any questions about prehistoric or current animals. Oh, put it in the chat. Okay. Well, thanks for joining. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Happy International Temnodontosaurus Day. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.